This is the Vision 79 podcast, where my friend Sander and myself, Mason, discuss recent developments in our business and personal growth. The name Vision 79 comes from our respective racing numbers. Sanders is 40, mine is 39, and we have similar ambition to progress in our business and personal growth. Many successful people have started small just like us, but very few of them have documented their early years. They often say they wish they had, and given we believe in learning lessons from others, we intend to be the first to document our journey from start to finish. This is simply a documentary of our lives, and as such, we do not monetize these videos, so enjoy the ad-free content. Each episode is broken down into 3 segments, each covering our progress over the past week. We start by discussing our life updates, then our business updates, and lastly, we share any lessons we've learned over the past week. We have timestamps in the description to navigate these sections easily. Today is April 12th, 2026, and we're recording episode 104. So what is your life update this week?
My life update this week is I worked third shift at Blue Origin this week.
What hours are third shift?
10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yikes.
Yeah, so it's a rough shift. But I actually, a vast majority, pretty much all of the work happened on our shift. I worked with the guy I liked working with. And the person who owns the test, is in charge of the test. So the two main people, I guess you could say, I worked with them. Almost all of the work for the entire test got done on our shifts, and we finished 37 hours ahead of schedule.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, we killed it.
Hell yeah. Good job.
So it's a super good job. I mean, the whole team, all the shifts, but especially we were really cranking on our shifts.
Why did all the work happen on your shifts?
Just the way the scheduling laid out,
Gotcha.
and different issues that happened.
So it's
Most
not
of it ended up getting punted towards our shift, and then a mixed bag. Second shift probably could have started a little bit earlier on some of the stuff.
Gotcha.
In terms of especially towards the end of the testing, but all in all, it kind of just fell that way.
Gotcha.
But then we really cranked it out on third shift. Really,
I feel like when you were at Deck 4 working second shift, it was a frequent issue where first shift would just do fuck all and then punt it to second shift and then make second shift.
Yeah, it wasn't as much of that. It was more so problems.
Gotcha.
Um,
Cool. So even though most of the work is still skipped to your shift, it's not due to people being
No.
lazy. It's just circumstantial.
Yeah,
Right.
mostly that. So that was sweet. Finished up early. I came in Friday. I didn't need to come in Friday, I guess, because all the testing had finished. So I could have just taken the day off as a free day. I would have still gotten paid salary, I guess, now in retrospect. But I came in just to see the next test that was happening because it was kind of related, and to see if I could help out. I ended up staying really late, because there were issues that they ran into, that I was trying to help with. But anyways, worked third shift this week at Blue Origin, trying to shift my sleep schedule back. So got up at 10 today. Gotcha, ain't too bad. So
Cool.
I'll probably be able to get up at a normal time for first shift tomorrow. Orion landed in the ocean.
That's right.
Down in the ocean. That was pretty cool.
That's right.
I watched the video feed while I was at work.
Me too.
So
I wasn't at work, but I watched the whole thing.
yeah, that was cool. Went skating again with Sammy. Sammy likes skating.
Cool.
So I think that sometime soon we're probably gonna get skates because it's pretty expensive to rent and go.
Yeah.
It's $40 for the two of us.
Yeah.
Which is kind of pricey every week.
Skates are only $80.
Yeah, after probably half a dozen times, I think they'd pay for themselves.
Probably.
And you'd have your own skates every time, which is nice. So probably gonna do that if we keep going and make it cheaper. Did an Miata oil change, and I dropped off the BMW at Autobahn yesterday.
Oh, cool.
So they haven't looked at it yet.
Gotcha.
Because I dropped it off yesterday.
Promise they're gonna.
They're gonna look at it and
Cool.
Just regular customer car and try to see if they can fix it. So
Cool.
hopefully they can get it sorted. I'm just sick of it. So
Right.
I wrote up a sheet for them of the stuff I want them to do. The misfire issue, send out the ABS module, and fix the key unlock and lock. I think it's going to be another module.
Gotcha.
And then there's a few other optional things that I threw on the list if they want to do it.
For
They
funsies.
can. Yeah, the light control module needs to be replaced again. I have the parts to do the seatbelt, but it involves taking apart the B pillar. It's kind of a pain.
What's wrong with the seatbelt?
The retract mechanism doesn't work, so it's throwing an airbag light because I think the car's not sure whether it could actually fire the pyrotechnic in the seatbelt to lock it in the event of an accident. I think that's what's wrong with it. So
Cool.
I got most of the parts to fix that, so if they want to do that, they can. And then there's like a couple of small things that like if they want to, they can, or I can do it at some point. But like the 3 module issues or the 2 module issues and the misfire issue, I want them to fix.
Sure.
2 of the 3 module issues, the key, the ABS module, I want them to fix. They can do the LCM that they want to. I don't really care. And then I want that misfire issue fixed. Like I want it gone. So gonna have them look at it. Wrote them up a little sheet of what the car's doing and what I've done so far. But that got dropped off this week.
You can put it on Cars and Bids when it's done.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna sell. I don't know if they'll go through Cars and Bids. The paint's not good on it. Like genuine.
Yeah, that's true. Do you have pictures from far away?
Yeah, if I get the same picture guy, it might be hard.
That's true.
He was annoying.
We could do a Vision 79 live stream in the last 30 minutes of the auction to see if it actually goes.
Yeah, I mean, if I saw that car, I'll probably put it on Marketplace.
Gotcha. Scam on.
I'll see how involved the misfires repair and then go from there.
Gotcha.
If it's something that's like this is quite the issue and it takes a lot of diagnosis, parts, and time, then I'll probably sell the car to recoup the money. If it's something that I've overlooked and it's a relatively simple fix and it's not that much money, I'll probably keep the car.
Gotcha.
Which
There's a third option.
is sell it as is.
No, you drive it to the compound, fill it with thermite, have a great afternoon.
Yeah, you could do that. I wouldn't get much for the car though.
You get a life lesson. You get a great life update from one of the podcasts.
I'm not doing that. But that's about what I have for life. I'm looking forward to get the BMW fixed. I think that if anyone can sort it out, they can.
Yeah.
I've looked at so much data off of the car and tried to figure out what's going on with it, and I'm sick of it. Like it's just like every time I work on it, it's a time sink that's threefold what I expect it to be, and I don't get anywhere with it. Even though I find clear issues, like when I did the fuel pressure regulator, it pissed fuel out of the vacuum port, which is like a telltale that the regulator is bad. So I was like, okay, great. Like I'm doing the regulator and fuel pump. This is good. I found issue, did not fix the car.
Right.
So it's like, I'm just like sick of dealing with it and I want to pay someone else to make the problems go away. And I just don't care. So it's nice to not look at it every day in my driveway.
If it's an easy fix and you can get the misfire fixed, why keep it?
Because the only reason I'd sell the car is to recoup the current invested money on it so that I can more quickly pay down the debt. Otherwise, it is quite a pain in the ass not having 4 seats in a trunk, especially with the volume of stuff in the storage unit.
And that's worth it, even though how big of a pain in the ass fixing the problems are.
I mean, if they can fix it and make it good, then I would be happy with it.
Gotcha.
It's like it really does suck moving stuff around with the Miata. Like I can't even fit a bin in the Miata.
Right.
Not even one bin.
The other week you had mentioned selling it and getting a wagon.
Yeah, that's still an option too. But
a reliable wagon.
Yeah,
easier to work on.
I think I'm gonna go off of the misfire issue first and then see about that. If I sold the car, I don't think I'd get another one until the debt was paid off.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like a back pocket thing. If I need the cash flow, I can.
Don't worry about that.
No, you're good. If I need the cash flow, I can.
Right.
So I'll kind of go off of that.
Gotcha.
So
cool.
Kind of go from there. But that's about what I got for life. Well over 200,000 on the Miata at this point, like 201 and change.
That's like a third or a little less of the distance that the astronauts traveled. Artemis II.
Yeah, the moon's 249 away.
The whole trip in total, I think, was like $699 or just over 700,000. And so Grace was like, "Wow, that's a little far away," and I was like, "That is over 10 times the distance that we've driven the Lexus." She was like, "Wow, it's 20 times actually. We're at like 30,000 miles."
Yeah. So he's what the hell? Anyways,
I don't know. I translated the into car mileage because it's a way to easily understand it.
Yeah, I'm waiting to hit like I think it's 249,500 is like the distance to the moon.
Oh, gotcha. That's cool.
Like waiting to like hit that. I think that would be cool.
Dude, I did the math a while ago on how many meters I've rode in my career, and it was something like around the Earth 6 times or something like that, or
I
something.
wonder how close to the moon it is.
I think I have to go back and check the math. It was like 8 million meters or something like that. I can't remember,
It's a
but
lot of meters.
I'll check my math. It was a far away, but now I'm wondering if it's to the moon and back. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. But that's what I have for life this week. What do you have for life this week?
I have a pretty full life update, which is
Cool.
a nice change from what I usually have. So starting off, the work at Northrop is still really crazy. Every day I would go into work and I would think, okay, I have like 5 things that I have to do, and I'll just knock them out, and then it'll be an easy day. And then I get in, and the first, like, my email inbox is slammed. I've got like 5 missed calls. Like, I spend the first half of my day putting fires out. And then the second half of my day is meetings I have to be in, and then I have no time to actually get my shit done. So I came in on the off Friday, and I got my regular, like, the amount of work that I would do, like, Monday through Wednesday, I got X amount done. I got that same amount of work done in an hour and a half on Friday, and I just fucking knocked it out because no one was it was an off Friday, no one was there to bother me. So that was nice. With our deadline coming up, I might have to do more of that, just like working where no one else is there so that no one can bother me. But the problem is I'm not approved for overtime. So either I do overtime and I just don't get paid for it and I just don't tell anybody and I just, put the hours in wrong on my timekeeping sheet, or I don't come in like Monday and instead I go in Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So those are my options. I still have to kind of figure out how much work is really needed. One of my slide sections I got rid of entirely. So previously, I have 2 jobs for this, and I figured I can actually talk about this part. So I'm in charge of 2 things on this PDR. The first is organizing a bunch of the niche guys, right? So like, um, you're building a Ferrari, and like, the powertrain guys are focused on the powertrain, and the convertible top guys are focused on the convertible top, right? You're not gonna have the guy in charge of the door handles there, or what's something more important than the door handles? How your
The
axle bearings are designed, right? They're important, but they're not like the big red items, right?
mhm.
You have to have your axle bearing guy do the stress test on the axle bearing, or your car's not going to go, right? It could blow up.
Mhm.
The axle could lock up. So my job is to get all of those niche engineers that their work is important, but it's just smaller work. It's not going to take up a 2-hour slot. And then I get all of their analyses and then I present on their behalf. And this is what I did last year for 12.
Mm.
This time I have like 18 or 20 different groups, different people. And their analyses are way more in depth. And so I can't actually speak to any of it. So I'm doing that. That's what I've been working on for a while. The other thing I'm doing is requirements management. So like, every single requirement that is in any contract, I have to manage and I have to track. And it's not just like, oh, this contract has requirements, because the way that we work is, you want me to build you a Ferrari, so you give me a list of requirements, right? It's got to be red, it's got to go 200 miles an hour, and it's got to have 3 seats, right?
Mhm.
And then I go, okay, so it has to be red. The paint has to be candy apple red. And it has to be sprayed on, and it has to be sprayed on in like a fancy garage that's like airtight. That's so your one, it has to be red requirement is actually 4 for me. And then there's 3 more layers where those 4 requirements become like 20, 25, 40. And then the very bottom one is the one that I send to the paint company. And
Mhm.
so your one requirement turns into like 35 that I send to the paint company. And I have to manage all of those requirements. So if you go, well, red would be nice, but I want it to have like metallic flakes in it. So you send me a new requirement that says red, but with metallic flakes. Now, every single level for 20, 35, I have to go change all those and then flow it to the paint guy at the same time. So I have
Yeah.
to manage all that. So that's the big chunk of slides. That's the like 200 slide deck that I have to go through. It's now above 200. But it was getting to the point where I'm getting so many updates that I'm like overloading trying to keep track of everything. And I have to present the right stuff. And I have conflicting reports from people because my job is to track the way things are. Leadership might not like the way things are because it's too messy, it's too volatile, it's changing too often. And so they want me to basically report that it's not as bad as it really is. And I'm not doing that. So I'm working with another engineer because I flat out told them I won't do that. I'm just going to tell, like, I can tell you what it is, and then you can chime in and tell them how that fits in your story. But I'm just going to tell them what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Mhm.
Um, in the middle of doing all of that, I'm getting harassed by management. Like, hey, where's the Axle guy's slides? And I was like, I don't know. I haven't talked to the Axle guy in like 2 weeks. Like, he's doing his analysis. I haven't gotten slides from him. And they're like, you have to go get slides from him. So I'm collecting slides from all these different groups, and they're each sending me. Last year, they sent me a single slider where it's like, here's roughly how much work we have to go do. And now it's like, we're halfway through the work. Here's where we're at. Here's what's left. And like, I can't speak to the technicality. So I'm getting multiple slides from all these teams. And I'm like, oh, dude, I don't have enough time to do my 200 slide deck and all this, which is rapidly increasing in volume. And so my manager was like, you need to go get those slides from people. Like they're not turning them in. They're not like good slides. They're kind of half-assing it. And I was like, okay. And so then I thought about it and I was like, hang on, why are they sending me bad slides not on time? The answer is because I'm presenting for them. If they were presenting, they would want to put their best foot forward because they're going to be up on the podium, right? And so I made the executive decision to just make all of them present their slides. And so I sent out a big email blast to everybody on Wednesday, and I was like, your slides are due by COB, you're presenting, see you at the dry run next week. And sure as shit, everyone's slides start flowing in. And so my boss was like, are you still going to present those slides? And I was like, fuck no, I'm not the subject matter expert. I'm going to make them do it. And he was like, that's actually a good call. And I was like, I know. So fortunately, I've offloaded like a huge portion of work there, but I still have the 200 slide deck is like constantly changing. It's a fucking nightmare. It's a systems engineering nightmare. Because the way it's supposed to work is you tell me the Ferrari you want to be red. You give me that requirement. I say, okay, sounds good. We sign a contract where we agree to make the Ferrari red, and then I go build the car, right? That's the way it's supposed to work. The way it's actually working is the car is being built right now, and you and I are still trying to figure out if you want it to be candy apple red or maroon red while the car is being built. And we're not talking about paint. So the systems engineering flow is not happening. They have a new kind of systems engineering that they rolled out a few years ago called agile engineering, which is instead of following the process and going step by step, basically at any given moment, you have to pivot to a different step entirely.
Got it.
So it's agile is what we call it, and it's fucking all over the place. It's basically just like systems engineer. It's a way to get systems engineers to get off everybody's backs because we're not doing it the way we're supposed to. But it's a fucking contracts nightmare. I have seen tens of millions of dollars go to efforts because of a single comma. There was a comma where there shouldn't have been a comma, or there was no comma where there should have been a comma. And so there was dispute over whether or not we should have done an effort, like whether or not we should be capable of doing this, right? And our customer's position was that we should be capable, and our position was that we shouldn't because there's no comma. And they said, well, there should have been a comma there. And we said there wasn't a comma there. And they said, well, there should have been one. And so then now we have a tens of millions of dollars contract to go do that thing. So the systems engineering process is important. Commas and punctuation are important. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
That's Northrop, a lot of work. And there will be a lot of work in the future too. But the big deadline is in 2 weeks. So we've got one more podcast before we go present all that, and we'll see how it goes. My next one is the Artemis splashdown. The Artemis astronauts are back, which was a relief. I watched most of the live streams NASA did this week on their, like when they hit the furthest point away from Earth, when they did the crater naming. You've seen that? No? Oh my God, dude. It's so touching. When they were crossing the furthest point that humans had ever traveled from Earth. And when they did that, the group of astronauts decided that they wanted to name 2 of the new craters that they discovered on the far side of the moon.
Okay.
And one of the craters they named Integrity after the capsule. And the second crater is right on the edge of where the light side and the dark side of the moon meet. And it's one of the last craters before the darkness. And it's particularly bright when you're looking at photos of it. And they named it after Reed Wiseman's wife, who passed from cancer a few years ago. It's very touching.
Yeah.
Very touching. So I watched that live stream. I watched the eclipse live stream where they saw the lunar eclipse from the opposite side of the moon. Sensational. Absolutely incredible. And then I watched the whole splashdown live stream I was really nervous coming into it because like I called my dad before the launch And I was like, "How are you feeling?" And he was like, "I feel pretty good." And I was like, "That's great to hear." He was like, "Yeah, I have a lot of confidence. I truly believe that these astronauts are the best that humanity has to offer. They are the people for the job.
Mhm.
I trust everyone who has worked on Artemis. Like, if we are not green for go, we will not go, and that's okay. But everything looks good." And I was like, "Awesome! I'm so excited for you." And then after the launch, it was like relief that the launch went well, but we still have to bring them home. And actually,
Mm.
have you seen the patches?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have.
The the patches have always been with the moon in the foreground and the earth
Yeah,
in the
they
background.
flip it on the backside.
They flipped it. As
Yeah.
soon as the launch went off, they flipped it to show not only are we sending people to the moon, but we're bringing them back to Earth,
Mhm.
which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And so the big emphasis placed on bringing them home safely. And I was really nervous going to splashdown. And so we went to the bar to watch it, and I had it on the TV. And while we were watching it, Grace has never seen like a reentry before, right? Like we saw it with the Dragon capsule
Mm.
for the first time in, was it 2019? Well, it was a
Mhm.
while ago. But like not from
Mhm.
lunar orbit, right? And so, I know more about this than I think I give myself credit for. I was talking to Alenka on the bar earlier this week, during the live stream where they were naming the crater, and she was like, "So are they going to the moon?" And I was like, "Yeah, they're on the backside of the moon, like right now." She was like, "Oh, okay." And she was like, "Do you think we landed on the moon?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think if you don't think we landed on the moon, you just are not familiar enough with the process." And she was like, "Okay." And so I started talking to her about why Artemis II isn't landing on the moon and why Artemis 1 didn't have any astronauts on it at all. And I started talking through like the different milestones and the different reasons for X, Y, and Z. She was like, "Wow, you know a lot about this stuff." And I was like, "I mean, I don't think I particularly do. Like if I went to work on center, everyone knows more than me, right? Like I know about as much as a local who lives here does, right? Um, and has an engineering mindset and an interest in space travel, but like I don't know a lot." And she was like, "You should watch Project Hail Mary. It's a new space movie that's out." I was like, "Thanks, Alenka." But as we're watching the splashdown and I'm talking Grace through it, there's other people at the bar who also don't know what's going on, and they're listening in to me explaining what's happening to Grace. Um, and it was a huge relief to see them come back safely.
Mhm.
I was very relieved for my dad, and I texted my dad, and I was like, "Congratulations!" Because in the back of my head, I was like, "If anything happens, like I have to get in the car and drive to my parents' house like right away because my dad's gonna be devastated." And I texted my dad, and he was in the Orion control room in Houston
Oh,
while they were
wow.
landing. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I was
That's
like,
cool.
"Dude, what? Like I can't drive to my parents' house. I
Yeah.
couldn't have because like he wasn't there." He was in Houston. I was like, "Dude, that's so cool." So the astronauts landed safely. We watched the whole live stream where they got the front porch set up and they got them onto the boat. And my dad, the next step after they got on the boat is they're gonna fly them from San Diego to Houston to give a press conference. And I asked my dad, I was like, "Are you gonna meet with the astronauts?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm invited to that event." And I was like,
Oh,
"Dude, no,
cool.
really?" And so I watched that event live yesterday, and sure as shit, I text him and I'm like, Dad, like, wave to the cameras." And I'm laughing to myself because, like, of course, he's not like on camera, right? But this is the video of the astronauts um,
Oh, cool.
clapping. So at the end of the press conference, the astronauts gave a round of applause to everyone at NASA
Mhm.
for, this is your accomplishment. It's not just our accomplishment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so everybody's cheering. And sure as shit, there's my dad
Oh,
in
yeah.
like row three.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, "You should have waved to the camera." And he said, "Oh, I was waving inside." He's,
Yeah, yeah.
humble, but um, that was really cool. And so I was texting Zap, one of
Oh,
our
yeah.
only podcast listeners,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, the conference is happening right now." And I was like, "Oh shit!" So I ran in there, and then I was like, "My dad's there. I can see him." So that was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So Artemis Splashdown was great. I have more in my lessons learned from that because I learned a lot from this mission, and a lot of it was very touching to me.
Mhm.
Um, namely, so just the fact that the people around me at the bar just they don't know how impactful this is. Um, and they didn't realize how important it was or how difficult this was. The bartender that night was like, just to like a smooth brain civilian, like this isn't that important to me. Like they sent back cool pictures and stuff, but like, why didn't we just land on the moon? And so then I explained to him how technologically challenging that is, and there's a reason that no other country has done it, and there's a reason that we haven't done it since like the Cold War. And it's incredible that we're back there and we're living in a time where this is happening. And, you know, this is the first huge milestone in many more milestones to come. And he was like, wow, like I didn't realize how big of a deal this was. And so it was a fulfilling feeling for me to share this accomplishment with the people around me and let them know how impactful this was. So that was really cool. I have more about it in my lessons learned.
Cool.
Yesterday, just on the USA #1 hype train, I went to the Cocoa Beach Air Show.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
I
was
saw
sick.
the Blue Angels going to work on Friday.
Yeah.
They were practicing. And then yesterday they actually flew over Satellite Beach as well. They went over there, so that was cool. I got to see that.
They landed. They flew out of Patrick.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, they were doing laps.
Yeah, they I was going to work on A1A, and this was Friday, and they flew like 500 feet above A1A, like right over me. Like,
yeah,
it was pretty sick. It was
super
cool.
sick,
Yeah.
dude. So I went. I maybe went when I was a kid, but most of the air shows I go to have like a static display, and you walk around the planes, and then there's an air show in the field, right? But this is like you're on the beach, like toes in the water, and they fly in front of you, which is really cool. And so the first big plane that they brought out was the B-52 Stratofortress, which is one of my favorite jets of all time.
Yeah.
Super cool. 8 Pratt & Whitney engines, just like whistling by. It was really cool to see that plane in person. I've never seen one before.
Cool.
So that was really cool. They had a search and rescue team operation that they did where they had a KC-130 tanker with the aerial refueling tubes behind it and 2 Jolly Green helicopters following it, doing aerial refueling, right? And then the helicopters came and they hovered over the water where they dropped PJs into the water, circled around, and then came back and picked them up, which was just so fucking sick, dude. So that's them. Sorry. That's them dropping people down into the water just to come back in. It was choppy that day. But dude, these helicopters are fucking crazy. I didn't get this on video, but when they came back and they were looking for people, they're going fast. They're fast helicopters, right?
Yeah.
They turn almost vertical to stop. And then they like turned on a dime. It was crazy. It was really cool to see.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was sweet. So that was a really cool demonstration. And after that, there was a little break. And they were supposed to have a P-51 Mustang come out, which is an old fighter plane. And then they were supposed to do a heritage flight with the P-51 and an F-22 and F-35. But there was a weird gap where nothing was going on. And I was like, are they canceling these people? Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's coming next. But I knew that the F-16 Viper demo team was supposed to be there. That's the YouTube video I watched the other week where they pull 9Gs like 10 times, right? And I know that they're supposed to show up, but I don't know when. And so Grace is in the bathroom, and she doesn't like loud things, so she keeps like her earmuffs on the whole time, right? And she texted me, and she was like, I'm on my way back from the bathroom now. And I was like, okay, cool. And so everyone's like chattering like a new plane is going to come through. And so I look around, and I don't see anything, but I see people turned around to look like to my right. And I'm like, okay. And so I turn around and I put my phone in my bag. And as I stand back up again, like it must have been like 150 feet above us, full afterburner, supersonic, the F-16 right over the, maybe not supersonic, but fucking really loud, right over the crowd. I almost shit myself, dude. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I can only imagine the Artemis II, when it launched, was the loudest thing on planet Earth. It felt way louder. Nah, it was fucking crazy. We were 3 miles away from Artemis, but I was maybe like 150 feet away from this jet. But it spooked me. I pulled up my Whoop to see if it could find like my heart rate after that, and I couldn't find it in there. But it must have been like 200 beats per minute. It was like resting heart rate at 65 to like 200 right away. But it was a really cool, it was a cool fucking show. That guy, he crushed it. Watching this plane, I was like, I totally understand why the F-16 is on my brother's flight list. This thing can fucking haul ass. It did so well that when the Blue Angels came out, I was like, the Blue Angels are cool, but they don't get me as excited as this F-16 does. But it was still cool to see the Blue Angels, of course. But it really wants me to, like, so the Navy has the Blue Angels, right? The Air Force has the Thunderbirds, which flies F-16s. I would really like to see the Thunderbirds. They wound up scrubbing the P-51 and the F-22s, which makes me sad because I really wanted to see an F-22, even if they're not doing crazy shit. But it's whatever. And so we had a good time and we left. And I was like, man, I'm kind of bummed that I didn't get to see the F-22s. I wonder if there's any other air shows that are going on in Florida this year that I could go to. There's one next weekend in Lakeland.
Oh yeah.
It's huge. They have static displays, full cargo jets. You can walk inside and see the cockpit.
Wow.
They've got A-10s on the ground, tons of shit. It's a week-long air show.
Wow.
They do stunts every day. They have P-51s. They have an F-22 Raptor demo team, so they'll be doing
cool.
stunts. And they've got Thunderbirds.
Oh, nice. There you go.
And so Grace and I are like sunburned from the beach that day, and we're tired and we're at the bar working, and I'm like, we have to go next Saturday. They have a night show too. So you go, we'll get there at like 9 or 10. We'll do all the static displays. Flights are from 1 to 5, and then they have a night show from 7 to 9:15. And so I text our friend Adam, who runs the Grant Valkyrie Airport, and I was like, "Are you going to this?" Because Grace is telling me we should not, because we're doing a lot of events lately. Because we did the air show this weekend. We had the Artemis launch the other week. We had the air show this weekend. I want to do an air show next weekend. Grace wants to go to Cheerleading Worlds the weekend after that. I would really like to take her, and you, if you're willing to go, to the regionals rowing competition in Sarasota in May. But I have to see if I can get on the island for that, because it's not worth going if you can't be like in and amongst the teams. But I've never taken her to an official regatta before, so I want to take her to Nathan Benderson Park. And so she's like, we're doing a lot of events. Like, we have to remember to work. And I was like, I know, and I am working, but it's the Thunderbirds, dude. And I didn't get to see the F-22s. I'd really like to go. And so I might work extra hours this week and earn the time for myself to go, because I'm really excited about it. And Adam was like, I might be going. I don't know what day yet, but whatever day you go on a day where they do the night show, because it is worth it. They only do it Wednesday and Saturday, and Adam's busy Wednesday, so he might be going Saturday.
Oh, cool.
So I have to talk Grace into it. I'm going to see if my dad wants to go. I'd like to get a big group together to go, because it's a whole trip over to Lakeland. I know you're busy, but the offer's out there.
Yeah, Sam wants to see the Olympic skaters in Orlando next Saturday. So another skating adventure.
Gotcha. Well, the air show is all day, so after the skating, you can just hop right over to Lakeland. It's only another 45 minutes. But
she already had to talk me into that skating thing.
I know. So I'm stoked for that. I really want to go next week.
My only leverage is that I'm gone the whole next weekend. So I was like, we can go to Orlando to see these Olympic skaters. When I'm gone for 5 days, when I come back, I don't want to hear this, you owe me a double date thing. No. We go to Orlando for this thing, and then the next weekend is dates canceled. I got to work. And then we can just resume. When I come back, we can't do this double date thing, makeup date thing. No. Right. So that's how I was able to negotiate that. But
yeah. It's so rare that I want to go do things that Grace was like, I think she'll be willing to make an exception, because I've said no to vacations for years. Years. The trip to Oklahoma doesn't really count for my brother, because that's not a vacation so much as it is like an event, right? But I never want to go do shit. And so I think that Grace is like, okay. Plus, she's got the same type of airplane autism, so I'm sure she'll love it.
Cool.
So anyways, those are the big life updates. Sorry, my phone's not muted.
No, you're good.
My last life update is actually kind of engaging. So we had showings this week, and Grace was at work, so I did the showings on my own in the Camaro, and it had been raining all week. The entire week it rained. And I showed up to the first showing went well. We're driving to the second showing, and it's pouring rain. So they're behind me in an Escalade following me. So comfortable, all of the door seals work. And I'm in what I can only describe as like a fucking, I can't even describe it, dude. It was so difficult. I had when I picture my brother doing his first flight in the T6 Texan, where he's like, there's so much shit going on. It's dark. You can't see anything. Your instructor pilot isn't helping you. I'm having comms problems with air traffic control. They read off a string of shit to you for 45 seconds and you have to copy it back to them perfectly, and you don't know what runway to land on. That kind of shit. This is easily the closest thing I've ever come to that. And driving a Camaro in the rain, my AC doesn't work. It doesn't blow cold.
Yeah.
So the interior will fog up after a while, right? So I have to, while driving and in traffic and shit, I have to wipe the windshield, or if that's not enough, I have to turn the defrost on, or if that's not enough, I have to open the windows to try to let the temperature and humidity balance out so that there's not a temperature differential across the glass. And I just flat out cannot see out the rear, and there's nothing I can do about it. The rear view mirror does shit. The side view mirrors also do shit. I can sometimes see headlights, but that's it. So like zero visibility. Sometimes I get at like a letterbox amount through the windshield. While that's happening, the door seals are leaking onto my arm. So if it's raining outside, it's raining inside, and it's pouring rain on the way to the second showing. So I have a towel that I have to keep up here because I don't want the water to run down into the fuse box area there. So like I have the towel there, and like occasionally I'll wipe the window trim because the window is already dying, and I don't want the window to die while I'm driving. So while that's all happening, the car still has overheating issues. And so the air is cool because of the rain, which is nice, but the car doesn't like to run in the rain. So I'm trying to like get up to speed and then coast in neutral where I can to keep the revs low, to keep the temps cool. I've got to like pull out from behind cars to chase clean air wherever I can. And then if it gets concerning where I'm in traffic for too long, I've got to turn the car off to get the water pump running with the engine off. But it doesn't like to start in the rain. So I've got to prime it a couple times. I have to watch the green light and then prime it a couple times to see if I can get it started in traffic in the rain. I have to manage oversteer because I took the tools out of the back of the car. And so the first half of the week I drove it with tools and it was driving fine in the rain. And I was like, this isn't so bad. And then I took the tools out because it was raining and I didn't want them to get wet, and drove like it was on ice. I eventually put the tools back in because I realized that the tools weren't getting wet. And I was like, I should put the tools back in the car. I'm going to die. So
Yeah.
while doing all that, I have to watch for deep puddles because I can't go through them too deep or I'll hydrolock the engine. I now know that if I have to go through a deep puddle, if there's nowhere else to go, if I turn the engine off right before I go through the puddle, I can probably use my momentum to get through it and I won't hydrolock the engine because there'll be no suction in the airbox. But also the side puddles, as I'm going through a side puddle, my power steering cuts out entirely and actually it locks up. So it's not like the power steering's gone and I have to work extra hard to get the wheel to turn. It fucking will not turn. So I have to pick my steering angle before I go into the puddle because I know that it's just going to lock in place with whatever angle I pick. And then on top of all that, I have to read the map on my phone because I don't know where the second showing is. And on top of all that, I'm on the road with Florida drivers at rush hour. And so I've got to deal with actual mouth breathers on the road. And so this was a harrowing experience. It's always scary driving the Camaro in the rain, but this in particular was like, I was like at maximum capacity. I was managing a lot. I was like, dude, this is a lot of shit to manage. And so I got home and I told Grace all this stuff, and she got worried because I tell her that it's harrowing to drive because it's challenging, but I'm able to do it. And so then that makes me feel good. Like, hey, I survived. I did well in a challenging environment, right? But what she hears is Mason puts his life in danger every day that it rains, which is almost true. And so she got really worried about me. And so without telling me, she decided that the best solution for this would be if she gets her own car so that I can drive the Lexus places. With what money? I don't know. And so she said she came to me and she was like, I talked to my mom because her sister had previously bought a car with a loan from her mom, and they paid back her mom monthly with interest, 8% interest, which is wild to me because I've got 5.7%.
Yeah, isn't that higher than you could get from a bank?
So I looked up, the national average is 11 to 15% on a car loan, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I used Northrop's bank, so they know my income. Maybe that's why I got a better rate. I don't know.
Maybe.
But when I was at Lexus of Miami or Mitsubishi of Miami, Wells Fargo was offering 8%. So I guess that's normal, but I was like, it's fucking crazy. Do not borrow that money. She was like, my sister borrowed that money. My mom said she'll look into it to see if she can lend me that money to buy a car. I've been looking at Volkswagen Beetles, and I've been looking.
She's been talking to a Linka. That's the problem.
She's like,
I hate those cars.
She's like, I've been looking into the 2013 model diesel VW Bug. And I hear they're really reliable. They go for hundreds of thousands of miles and they're really good on gas.
The diesel is probably better. It also costs fucking $6.75 a gallon for diesel right now. So like,
yeah,
pick your poison.
So I was like, Grace, okay, I really appreciate your resourcefulness, but there's so many factors going on here, right? Number one, you don't want to owe your mom money. That sucks. You'd rather owe a bank money because you don't want to default on your mom. And Grace was like, I thought about this, but I'm pretty sure that my mom would be willing to let me not make monthly payments or make only interest monthly payments and then pay her in chunks after real estate closings. And I was like, yeah, but you already have student loan debt and you have a car that you drive every day. So like, you don't have to worry about it. And, she was like, well, that's your car, but you let me drive it. I was like, no, that's our car. I pay for it to be our car. Like, I want you to drive it. And on top of that, if you buy a VW Bug, I have to be there to greenlight the car, which means that I have to help you look for the car and then go look at the car in person. And then also I'm the one servicing the car for its entire life. And I don't want to do that shit. So this is not a direction that I want to go. Like, if you want your own car, we can talk about it. But like, and I can't stop you from doing this, but I can only strongly advise and maybe plead it for you to not do this. And so I brought her around and she was like, okay. And I was like, the Camaro is not safe, but most cars are not safe in the hands of the people who own them. Like, if you've driven on 192 in the last 6 years, you'll know most people do not meet the IQ certification to drive a car. And even the people that do aren't attentive drivers. Like, they'll text and drive or they'll not pay attention. But like, the benefit of the Camaro being so dangerous to drive is that I have to pay attention to the driving or I'll die. So I always pay attention to the driving. And it's only when it rains. And if it really does get that bad, I will pull over in the Camaro. I've done it before. I'll do it again. And so I got her around. But I was this close. You and me were this close to having to go shop for VW Beetles. And so I'm looking out for us as a team.
I ain't shopping for a flooded VW dealer. You do that shit on your own.
So
I hate those cars.
that's my yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Well, the safety ratings.
I already
a big
hate
thing for me.
VW, and like the Beetle is the worst variety of the VW. It's
Yeah.
like the only VW that I kind of enjoy and like is the GTI, the Golf GTI,
Yeah. I told her, I was like, she was like, it's so
or the older ones.
like, yeah,
Those old Rabbit or an old Beetle. Or,
Yeah.
you know, like the weird off-center
Historic
things.
cars.
Volkswagen things are cool, but they're like
Yeah.
niche, weird old cars.
Yeah, even the buses are interesting, right?
Yeah.
But like the new Beetle, like the 2015 Beetle, does not do it for me. I guess she likes how it looks, but I was like, the safety ratings are not there. And she pulled it up. The NHTSA ratings are actually pretty good for that car. But I am suspicious of any convertible car with 4 stars on a rollover rating. That doesn't make much sense to me. Even if it's got the extension bars that come out of the back seats or the front seats,
Yeah.
I don't trust that shit. So I was like, I've seen plenty of VW Beetles crushed into a cube in traffic where they get rear-ended. So I still don't trust this shit. But more than anything else, I don't want to have to maintain a German car. I've had too many friends with German cars. You've talked to Sander. You see the pain in his eyes. I don't want to deal with it. Plus we don't need it right now. Like, there's not a driving need. It's a creative, resourceful solution to a problem we don't have. So I talked her out of it. But that's my life update.
Cool.
What's your business update this week?
So for business this week, I got a few things. The weather this week put a massive damper on my ability to work in the storage unit because we haven't had one of these weeks for a while, but it rained every single day,
Nonstop
and
night
for 4.5 days, like night and day with like maybe 15 to 30-minute breaks, nonstop for 4.5 days.
On Tuesday, I had an all day, like have to be at the desk on the phone meeting.
Yeah.
For 9 hours on Tuesday. I showed up soaking wet, like my socks were wet.
Yeah.
Underwear was wet.
Pouring all week.
I sat at my desk all day soaking wet, freezing cold all day.
Yeah.
It fucking sucked, dude.
Yeah. It was so that put a massive damper on the storage unit. Because to work in it, I have to roll one of the cars out.
Yeah.
And then additionally, if I want to have any ventilation, I got to leave the door open, and that causes the stuff on the door edge to get wet.
Right.
So
I mean, it was raining sideways. You probably get shit on the back wall wet.
Yeah. It was a really, really bad weather this week. The Miata needs new tires. So I got to sort that out because it really does need new tires. I'm actually hydroplaned on the way to work. One of the days.
I believe it. And I'm talking about oversteered.
Yeah. It was the weather was horrendous.
Your tires are worse than mine are.
Yeah, and I was going speed limit down A1A.
Yeah.
And I just caught this patch of water, and it started to pull the car left towards the center curbing, and I started turning right. The car wasn't turning.
Yep.
It was just I was just sitting there, and I was like there's nothing I can do. So I was just waiting it out, waiting for it to catch, and it caught a little bit, and I was fine. But it's like it was weather was horrible.
I spun the Camaro that way on 520 in college. I spun, and I was about to put it like front end first in the median, and I literally spun through a gap in the median for cops to sit at, or a U-turn. And I spun through into what would have been oncoming traffic if anyone was coming. And then I stopped with my rear wheels touching the grass on the opposite side of the highway. It's the lucky, like, I'm not religious, but I can't explain. That's so lucky.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. Go on.
So That put a good damper on the workability this week, but regardless, I did get some stuff done. I During a gap in the rain, I managed to push the orange car into the storage unit.
Was it
So
not in the storage unit already?
no, that
Uh,
happened this week. That
oh,
started
we've
this
seen
week.
each other this week. That's why I know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's why I
yeah.
know that. Okay.
So
What did we do this week? Where did we see each other? How do I know this? Did you send me
hmm,
pictures?
I sent you pictures of it.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's it.
I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, I pushed that car over there. Um, it it's definitely tiring to push a car, even though that car was white.
You sent me photos because then I
Yeah.
replied, I'm trying to get between thighs that tight.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that text now.
Yeah. But that I pushed that car about a mile. I mean, it doesn't have a motor transmission in it, so it's pretty light, but it's still,
It's still
tiring.
work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
A
tiring to push it.
miles a long walk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I got that in the unit and undercover, which was nice. It would have gotten soaked on the inside if it sat out this whole week. So
Like the Camaro.
yeah, with the Camaro. Um, and then additionally this week, I didn't manage to get together with the guy who gave or sold me a bunch of stuff because he was out of town. But he did say I could go over to his place and sift through the remaining parts
Oh, that's
and
fine. Yep.
then take what was 914. So I went over there this week and got the axles, the sway bars, torsion bars, and shocks that were applicable to the 914 stuff. And then I had some questions about some sway bars and shocks. Because I didn't find any shocks that were 914, but it seems improbable.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask him for because I know there's a lot of rollover between 911 and 914.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask him about that, and I didn't find any sway bars, and I'm pretty sure I found all the part numbers on the sway bars, so I know that like there just aren't any extra sway bars. But I did find one sway bar that looked like it came off the race car, so I set it aside to ask him about that. But then additionally, I found some seat belts, some side mirrors, rear view mirrors, and license plate lights at his place. So I brought those, I grabbed those and sent him photos of what I took, and let him know, got that done. So additionally, I moved some more stuff from the garage onto the back porch, which has now given me quite a bit of area for the welder that I need to get in order to start working on that green car.
Right.
So that's good. And then I also am this week, since it's not going to rain, I'm looking at starting by identifying, yeah, seriously. I'm starting by identifying the 1.7 and 1.8 liter Porsche stuff that I can get rid of right off the bat.
Gotcha.
So that's going to be the first kind of project within the storage unit to start selling stuff.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and then kind of in the similar flavor, I've had all the magazines listed. No one's bought any of the magazines. Someone bought the Hot Wheels, but
Cool.
someone did reach out to me asking if I had a different issue magazine. And I
Cool.
had it. I
Cool.
had it. So he wanted issue number 10.
Mhm.
So what I realized is that the ones that are no longer in production, which kind of goes out randomly, are much more valuable.
Mhm.
And so I was just trying to sell 1 through 4 because they're duplicates, but they're all still in production. He wanted number 10, which is not in production, but I had it. Um, for perspective, the ones I have listed now, I dropped the price to 100 a piece,
Mhm.
which is equivalent to what it's listed for as a reprint.
Got it.
So I think those will sell eventually. Um, but the one that he wanted was no longer in production. I had it boxed in the original box. And I told him because it's in the original box and it's no longer in production, I want 300 for it.
Mhm.
And he paid. So
Cool, dude.
I sold one magazine for 300
Nice.
bucks, which was super cool.
It's almost 10% of everything, though. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was really cool. And as those go out of production, I saw a bunch of listings for like the very common sale price for them without the box, just the magazine, no longer in production, is about 250.
Gotcha.
And so if I just wait out that, I have 19 plus 4. So I have 23 like that if I wait on all of those to go out of production, which will probably happen in the next year or two if they aren't already not in production, which I have a handful that already are not. 23 times 250 would be uh,
I got you, dog.
yeah, fuck, I don't want to do the math, like $5,000 or something.
I can't do the math. I'm just too stupid. 5750
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a good amount of money.
for sure.
And then the plus the prototype one I have, which goes for about 500. So I'm over 6,000 on magazines. If
Yeah.
I just sell the ones that are unlisted and then I'll hold out for the ones that are still
Yeah.
in production.
Cool, dude.
So that was pretty sweet. So selling those one at a time, and then oh yeah, I was at home this week, and I got pissed off because I was like, why do I have so much fucking shit like everywhere? Like, there's so much crap. Um, and so what I decided to do, I'm still working on it. I'm gonna finish it up after podcast today.
Mhm.
Is I'm going through the corner of stuff in the living room. Um, Most of the other stuff I've gone through, but that corner area,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna make stuff that I want to keep
Mhm.
and that's stuff that I want to get rid of.
Cool.
And if I have enough for a yard sale, I'll do that and then list the rest on eBay.
Cool.
If it's just like one bin, not really enough for a yard sale, I'm just gonna individually list it on eBay.
Can I get first dibs?
Sure, I don't care.
You got some cool stuff.
Yeah. So, but it's like stuff like I told Sammy, I was like, if you took this entire corner and wall of shit and emptied out all the bins, put it all in the trash, I probably would go the rest of my life not thinking I'm missing anything.
Yeah.
And like, that's a fucking problem.
Well, my whole thing is if you're looking through stuff and you find something that you are remembering that you own, you probably wouldn't miss it if it was
Yeah,
gone.
that's the problem.
Yeah. There are some things that so like I was going through my storage unit this week
Mhm.
for some reason. I can't remember why. I was looking for something. And while I was in there, when we visited my brother in Oklahoma, he has a Lord of the Rings sword on the wall
Mhm.
that he and I got when we were kids. And Grace was like, "Oh my God, he has Lord of the Rings sword." And I was like, "Yeah, I've got the other one." And she was like, "What?" And she was like, I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "I've never fucking seen this." And I was like, "Yeah, it was hanging on my wall." And when I lived with my parents, she was like, "I've never seen this." And so when I was going through the storage unit, I have a scabbard for it too. There's a sheath. And I remember I buried it in one of the boxes on purpose because I was like, if I die and someone buys my storage unit in an auction, they're going to be digging through stuff and they're going to find an old sword and they're going to be like, what? And it's going to be cool. And so I knew it was in there somewhere, but I was digging through looking for something else and I uncovered this sword and I was like, I'm getting the experience I left for someone else. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So I brought it out and gave it to
Oh,
Grace.
that's cool.
But I also found a jar of coins
Mm.
that I had. I don't fucking know how I got it. I hate having coins on my person. And so when I lived with my parents, I must have had this jar where every time I got coins from buying something at the gas station, I just put in the jar.
Mm.
And I was like, this is probably 15, 20 bucks. I'll take it home. So I took it home, counted it up. It's $100
There you
in
go.
coins. Yeah.
Nice.
So like,
Cool.
but those are two items that I'm like, oh, I forgot I own these, but I'm glad I have it. But there's other items where you're like, I forgot I own this and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I had uh uh full case of like Hot Wheels track, whoop-de-whoops, like a bunch of track.
Yeah.
And I gave it to the kid who lives on the other side of the duplex, the
That's
young kid. I just brought over the chest and I was like, here you go.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
And like he really liked it and
That's
you'll
awesome.
have fun with it, whatever.
Yeah.
I probably could have sold it on Marketplace for $100, but I was like,
Yeah, but you made the kids' day.
yeah. He was having fun with it
Yeah.
and setting it up and enjoying it. So I was like, you have it. But that's what I'm working on this week. I really want to get some stuff sold. I want to clean up that area. Because if I ever have to move, there's just like such a volume of junk.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is that I didn't actually put this on my sheet, but I looked at with you. I still haven't responded to your email. I forgot
okay.
to do that working night shift or whatever. But
I'll never forgive you, but it's fine.
yeah, we're looking at different properties, different options in terms of rental shop spaces to purchase commercial shop spaces, residential spaces to purchase and then kind of use as a shop space if applicable,
Yeah.
or something closer or more akin to raw land or with a simple residential home on it with space to build
Mhm.
a garage area.
Mhm.
So there's a few different options. We started looking at those, sent some emails back and forth, and looked at various listings online to kind of go through that stuff and get an idea and an ear out there on that stuff. I
Yeah.
think kind of what I'm leaning to right now is either shop space rental that I can then monetize just enough in order to pay for my rental space.
Yeah.
That will be really nice because the entirety of the back porch and the garage and the storage unit, like the main bulk of the stuff I have is like all garage stuff.
Mhm.
The whole back porch is like all my old racing gear
Right.
and like racing stuff.
Right.
Then the garage is just like tools
Mhm.
and car.
Right.
And then the storage unit is all like parts and cars.
Right.
And so it's like all shop oriented stuff that
Mhm.
could very easily get transferred as a unit into a shop space.
Yeah.
And it would be more applicable there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would free up a lot of space. So kind of my thinking is like that would free up a lot of space in the house, which I would like. And then if I can go through the rest of the stuff in the living room, I suddenly have a lot more space than I did otherwise, which gives me the option to downsize or move if I need to more easily. And so that's part of the reason I'm going through it as well. And then additionally, like I'm just sitting on stuff that's of value that I'm not doing anything with. So
Right.
that's
Get
another
cash on the
motivation.
The
Yeah.
property stuff, I think that finding a place to rent is challenging, but I think the most challenging part is gonna be finding a place for rent for a good price.
Mhm.
Because it's not uncommon to see those rental type shops go for like 3 to 4 grand a month, which blows the
Yeah.
budget. But
Yeah.
I think that the most I have some sample math in there, which is like napkin math, so don't
Yeah.
it's not
I,
biased.
I actually saw that and I
Right.
read through it briefly.
But I think that you could find a plot of land with a small house on it for like maybe like 240K or something like that. And then build like an $80,000 shop
Yeah.
on that same land for like 2,800 bucks a month. Is
Yeah.
your monthly
Total
payment at
with
the end.
the mortgages and the build out and all that stuff.
That's with insurance, that's with PMI, that's with everything.
Yeah.
It would be like 2,800 a month,
Right.
which isn't bad. The challenge there is finding the right property. And there are some properties that exist that aren't in the best condition, but have solid bones for like 350K with garages already built on there.
Yeah.
Which is nice because then you move in and then you refurb as you live there. But
Yeah. The tough part was like as we saw,
Mhm.
you either get a home so big you need to start a daily bread in order to be able to have a garage big enough.
Yeah.
It's just a huge home
Yeah.
with a big garage. And then even with those big garages or small garages,
Mhm.
or smaller garages,
Right.
the ceiling height, the outlet space, and the lighting isn't very good, or it's not the best for an active workshop.
Right.
There aren't enough outlets. There isn't 220 hookup. The ceiling height or shape may be strange for a lift,
Yep.
stuff like that, or it may be just too finished. It
Which
may be like sheetrock level, like interior home style garage.
Right.
Um,
Or it's all aluminum and it gets fucking way hot in the summer.
yeah, which is I would prefer the latter
Mhm.
over too nice because I'm paying for something really nice that I don't need rather than getting something that's a little bit under what I need, but I can throw
Right.
some fans in it or throw an AC system in it or have like just a cool room to chill out in. Like
Right.
that's an easier bump up than getting something that's too nice and then paying for stuff you don't need.
Right. Well,
So
and the 2 nice ones come with a 5-bed house that you're not gonna use.
right, exactly.
And I think that the reason getting a small house and then building your own garage is the best route is because you can move in stages. Like you
Exactly.
can find the house and land that you like, and then you can acquire it and get all your shit moved in and get comfortable with those mortgage payments to start. And then you can design what you want your garage to be like, and then you can start the construction and you don't make full mortgage payments on the construction until it's completed
Yeah.
because it works in a drawdown period. So
Yeah.
you get approved for like $100,000 and then the builder uses up X amount of that progressively. And you only make interest payments during the build and it's only the money that they've used so far.
Yeah.
So it really nicely ramps up into full mortgage payments, which again gives you time to set aside more money for like a rainy day fund
Yeah. Yep.
while that's happening. And then at the end of it, you get
Because after I'm done paying down the debt, I mean, I'll be making good money from Blue Origin, and I can genuinely save up something for a down payment or
Yeah.
because these mortgage style payments. Like it is very feasible. Every single coworker I have, even in their early 30s, owns a home.
Right. Well, and
Um,
also like if you went on the higher end of that, and you did it, if you did a $250,000 home and you did the FHA 3.5% mortgage
Yeah.
payment, that's $8,700.
yeah, which is very doable.
Right, and that's a down payment that you could do with no down payment assistance program. We still have it's called MIP, it's mortgage insurance premium, which you pay until you get to the 20% down payment. But it's like maybe $150 a month, which sucks. But it's the penalty that you pay for not being a veteran and not having any,
Yeah.
because veterans can borrow 100% no down payment and no penalty.
Yeah.
But unless you want to enlist in the services, you're kind of stuck.
Right.
But
exactly.
the FHA thing is great. And if the property tax thing goes through, then you won't have property taxes. And I included property taxes in that email with an asterisk saying, if you don't have that in the future, then you don't have to pay for that.
So that's something given that, I'd probably wait to see if that bill passes in
Mhm,
November.
mhm. It's
So
got to get through the Senate first too. So if it gets shot down in the Senate, then there's no dice.
right, that is very true. But that is some of the options that I looked at this week in those regards. I decided this week as well that a barn dominium style place was really not something I was looking
Mhm.
for a few reasons. The first being is that the barn dominiums I find as like it kind of speaks towards like a car oriented Playboy mansion
Mhm.
where it's not really great for garage and it's not really great for living because the garage section is integral to your living space
Yeah.
and therefore the garage becomes more of a showroom
Mhm.
than a workshop.
Mhm.
And then like anything I want to do with loud equipment or smelly chemicals or running a car, anything like that creeps in to the living space. And then
Mhm.
anything happening in the living space the garage activities have to cater to whatever is going on in the living space, whether someone's sleeping or whether there's dinner going on or whatever.
Right.
Like it becomes a compromise very quickly and a very expensive compromise.
Right.
And so I think that's overall a silly approach at this time.
Yeah.
So just kind of looking at some of that stuff this week and trying to get an idea of where I'm gonna be going forward from here.
I think that's a good delineation to make too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's smart and it allows the expansion of a separate garage space is much easier.
Yeah. It also helps with resale value
Yeah,
because a big
most
part.
people don't want a barn dominium.
Right, exactly, and it's not just what does the property appraise for, but can I actually find someone? Because like,
Yeah,
an appraiser can come to the barn dominium and be like, "Wow, everything's in great condition, it's worth $2 million," but if you can't find anyone and you need to sell the home and it's been on the market for 500 days and no one's making offers, then you have to drop the price, and it doesn't matter where it appraises because there's no one willing to pay for it,
right,
right?
exactly.
But any dude, I mean, my clients right now, one of the things the husband wants is a workshop. And so they're looking at houses and, a lot of them don't have a workshop. So a lot of what we're looking at is there enough land to build a workshop? Will the HOA allow it? And if they were to find a home that was even like a 3-2 with an external garage, they would qualify for that to be qualified leads and be interested.
Yep.
I mean, Bob's house is a great example of this. He's got this 6-car garage in the backyard and his is a 3-2. And I mean, he's like next to downtown Melbourne. Presumably, you'd want to be a little more out in the boonies, but
Yeah.
it's a good example still.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So that was some of the stuff that worked on and looked at this week. That about wraps up my business update.
Cool.
The rain put a big damper on the storage unit work, but otherwise, still tried to get some stuff done this week and some work in progress on next steps, kind of where I'm looking at going and what I'm trying to do in the future.
Yeah.
So that's about what I got. What do you have for business this week?
I have. It's kind of a shorter one, but it's still packed with value. So my buyers, the VA buyers, who were looking at either buying a vacant lot and building on it or buying an existing home.
Hmm.
We've kind of flipped back and forth. We started with land, then we went to look at houses, and then now we're back to land looking at builders. So I left off doing interviews with builders, right? In the middle of talking to builders, they found a couple houses they wanted to go look at. So we've established we are looking at these two routes in parallel. We're going to look at houses as they come up, and then we're going to do builders just in case the houses don't work out. So we did another couple interviews with builders. I think overall they went pretty well. There's one in particular that I think my client gels with pretty well. They just were really cagey about price, and I can tell that he has been locked into price before and doesn't like it. So he doesn't want to give ballpark estimates because he doesn't want to be held to that later on, which is valid because if you want nice cabinets versus middle range cabinets, that could be $20,000. And so
Hmm.
he doesn't want to make it schedule or time estimate without,
Yeah.
running through the basics first, which I get. But we scheduled some showings earlier this week. This is the one that it was raining for. We scheduled two. The first one, as we were walking through the house, they were like, "This is nice. We think that this could work." And then when we got to the next house, they reflected on the first one and they were like, there was all the bedrooms were upstairs and there was only one bathroom upstairs. And so if someone's got to pee in the middle of the night or if you're getting ready for bed,
Yeah.
it's kind of a pain in the ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they decided no just because of the floor plan. The second one was a fucking train wreck. It was like, I don't know how many homeless people lived in there, but it still smelled like it.
Damn.
And it was in rough condition. And they were like, this is not, we don't like the neighborhood. We don't like the house, like, this is not it for us. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so we left it. They were one.
You're good.
No? Oh, you fucker.
Just keep going. You're good. I ruin it? No. I was trying to hold it. You're good.
Okay, you can sneeze. It's all right.
I didn't want to.
So they looked at those houses. It wasn't for them. And they found a couple more that they wanted to go look at. So we scheduled the showings for this weekend. So we had 3 showings today that we went and did. The first house was God, what was the first house we went and saw? The first house was really cool. It's actually being rented out right now as a rental, and the tenant was still there. The tenant was very nice. They walked us around the home and showed us around, but ultimately it's on a hill. So the house is on top of the hill, and there's like a deck that has stairs that go down to the bottom of the hill. It's really interesting, but you can't develop on the land. So you can't build another structure. So that's a no-go for them. The second one was it checked all their boxes. Honestly, I think it would have been a dream home if it wasn't in a neighborhood that they aren't super fans of. And then the third one kind of checked most of the boxes. I think it's in pretty good shape. The layout's okay. It's in a decent neighborhood. I think it checks enough of their boxes that they want to put an offer on it. So they actually just texted me and confirmed that they want to put an offer on that one.
Cool.
And I'm relieved because I personally wasn't super stoked about doing an offer for one of the other ones that we had looked at today. I was really hoping that they didn't want to put an offer on it, but of course, if they want to, then we will, and I'll do my analysis and everything just the same. But to myself in my head, I was like, I hope they don't do this. And so for this third one, I'm going to run a CMA tonight, and I'll send an analysis over to them. They'll figure out how much they want to offer on it, and then we'll make an offer. So that's good to hear. At the same time, I'm going to reach out to a couple more builders and see if they're able to work with my client in being involved in the home building process, just to check those boxes and do our due diligence. We've got one more interview, and then I've got a couple more that I want to follow up with. But those people wrapped up. So hopefully the CMA goes well tonight. I really have no idea how much this house is worth. I think it's probably priced pretty well. Just gut feeling. It's in a really nice neighborhood. And the square footage is solid. It doesn't have a pool, but it seems to be in good shape. So we'll see. I'll do the CMA tonight.
Yeah.
But those are those clients. I got confirmation from my rental client that they're ready for me to submit my paperwork to get paid, which is cool. Who else do I have in here? I think those are all my clients right now.
Cool.
It was mostly these veteran buyers. So that's all the clients that I've been working with. Most of my work this week has gone into the business context document stuff. So I completed my context document last week.
Oh yeah.
I got the Claude desktop version and uploaded everything. And then I uploaded prompt 1, executed it, downloaded it, uploaded it. Prompt 2 ran out of memory usage.
Yeah.
And so every day I basically did one prompt.
Yeah, that's
So
how you'll have to do it.
1 through 5. Got to prompt number 5 on Friday, and I was like, oh, there's something specific I'm supposed to do for prompt 5 or 6. I can't remember. There's like a different thing I have to do. I can't remember what it is. And so then I went back to our YouTube video that we made, and I was watching you explain to me what the steps were to remember what this fancy step for prompt number 6 was, when I realized I'm supposed to be reviewing each of these prompts between Claude generations. It's supposed to generate it, and then I review it, and then I upload it once they greenlight it. And I did not do that. I just downloaded it and re-uploaded it again. So now I'm going through and I'm reading through each of the prompts to make sure they're good. Prompt number 1 was good. Prompt number 2 so far is good. But if I reach a hiccup where I want to make an edit, I'll probably go in and delete like all the later prompts.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
how you have to do it.
Yeah, and then upload the one that had an issue and then rerun them. But so far, prompt 1 and prompt 2 look good. I'm halfway through prompt 2.
It should be pretty darn good. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. I'm going at it with a perspective of I would rather nitpick and re-download and re-upload documents and take the time to do it again than just tell myself, Claude knows what it's doing. This is probably fine. And so the way that I'm approaching it is I'm going through, and as I'm reading, I'm making edits. I'm being nitpicky. And at the end of it, if there's a bunch of edits, I'm just going to upload it and do it. And at the end of it, if there's like 2 edits and I don't think they're that important, then I'm just going to let it ride.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at in the process right now. Cool. Overall, I think it's in pretty good shape. It's just these documents are like fucking so long, so it's taking me a long time to read through them. And I lost all of Friday night to the Artemis splashdown and all of yesterday to the air show, and then today to showings and tonight to CMAs. So it's going to take a fucking minute to get there. But overall, I think it's going pretty well. And I am ready to start filming and running ads. It'd be really cool, actually. And this is dreaming, but it'd be nice if we were under contract on this house from today and we get that house closed, which gives me even more money to funnel into ads. That would
Mhm.
allow me to run ads for probably 2 months instead of just 1 month, which
Yeah,
gives me way better data.
that's
Um,
true.
so, bright side of it taking a while to get the ads running is maybe I have more money to play with. Dark side is that I rushed and I skipped the prompts, and I probably could have spent the time uh, between memory usage reading through the prompts, making sure they were good. But in any case, we'll go through it and see how it goes. But that's my business update for this week.
Cool, very nice.
What lessons did you learn this week?
I got same lesson as last week. I think it's just kind of more continuation of that, trying to work forward one step at a time. Continuing to put one foot in front of the other and make progress every week. So it's, still a little bit more sporadic for me, kind of a little bit more unknown than it has been in past years.
Mhm.
So just trying to work through each thing and continue making progress. So I
Mhm.
think I did a decent job of that this week
Cool.
with the work that I did. So that would be my lesson learned.
It's a good lesson.
Yeah.
Do you think it's different at all from last week, or is it just more of the same?
Um, I don't think it's different. I think I'm just still learning it. It's still like you get caught into periods where you feel like, oh, like what am I doing? What direction do I have? Like where am I going to go with this? It's still like very vague for me in terms of the direction I have, especially from the business side of things. Like what's the long term business here? What's the long term goal? That's still very foggy. I started a chat with Claude to try and kind of figure out some direction and stuff like that, but I haven't like finished chatting about it, and I haven't really formed an idea yet. So that's a little
Right.
bit vague. I'm hoping. Well, today I'll finish up the organization, and then throughout this week with the storage unit and that quad chat, hopefully next week I'll have more direction to share and a better lesson from that.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't really think it's much change outside of me just trying to make it more applicable.
Mhm.
Trying to distract myself less with other junk, watching YouTube videos or whatever, and just trying to stay focused on this goal because even though it seems foggy, like I don't really know what my goal is, ultimately, like in my experience, the only way to clear that fog is to just work through stuff and
Mhm.
start working on it. So that's kind of what I have for this week. Um,
Kinda make you feel even smaller and
mhm,
even more listless and lost. I was watching a podcast this week with Elon,
mhm,
and he's talking about how they are considering putting AI data centers in space, in orbit, because
yeah, I've heard of this.
with the orbits, you can have solar panels
Yeah,
that get like 5 times the energy than you do on Earth because there's no atmosphere. And if you put the cooling side on the back of the satellite where the sun doesn't reach, then you have crazy cooling capability
yeah,
too. And the guys on the podcast were like, "Holy shit, that's a great idea!" Like and Elon was like, "Yeah, it's almost like I planned it out." Ha ha ha, because he's had this all planned out the entire time. Like
mhm,
the Boring Company to drill tunnels beneath the Mars surface so that people can live there, and the Optimus robots with the AI chips from the solar
yeah,
orbiting things to go colonize Mars ahead of us. Like he like every time he goes on a podcast, I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. And it's an idea that he had 30 years ago. And like now he just has the resources to put it into place. I'm like,
yeah,
fuck, dude. He is like the main character.
mhm,
He's so far ahead of like any like there are people who are watching him and like they can't even fucking conceive. Like it was impressive to me. And then it made me feel like, oh dude, I don't have my shit figured out at all. Like Elon's had this figured out since like fucking third
yeah. I
grade.
don't know. I think some of that is probably like figured out as it comes. I don't think he was
For sure.
24 years old or 22 years old and had this all planned out. Like I just don't think that's the case. I don't believe that for a
I don't
second because when he was forming SpaceX, um, they were about to pack it in after 3 failed attempts. 3.
well, they had to because they were running out of
Yeah,
money.
and he was gonna pack it in, but maybe would have restarted or whatever, like, who knows? But, like, I just don't believe the fact that, like, he was 25 years old and was like, "This is gonna happen, and then this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and then I'm gonna get to this point, and I'm gonna be able to do this with solar panels." Like, I think that's just too niche and too unknown. I think that the larger picture, yeah,
Mhm.
but, like, these niche things, like, I just don't believe that. I won't buy into that.
I think that what I would believe is I believe that SpaceX was started with the intent of getting humans to Mars
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
mechanism being delivering stuff to orbit because you can charge companies for that.
Right.
So it'll fund itself by putting like
Yeah.
commercial
Well,
products up
I
there.
just like, these, like, smaller niche things,
I do believe the solar panel thing though, because it's believable that, I mean, solar panels on Earth, they get dusty. If it's cloudy, then you don't get any power. Even
Yeah,
just the
but I think that
atmosphere.
comes from working with solar panels and working with engineers who understand them, you know? Like, I don't
Yeah.
like and that maybe happened 10 or 15 years ago, that's very possible, but I think that, like, undoubtedly stuff and knowledge and information unfolds as you do it, which, like, is evidenced in itself by the fact that, like, um, they have had to make adjustments to, um Starship
Mhm,
regularly because of innovation changes
mhm.
and because of this stuff, right? There is that aspect of like innovation and learning,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. I
Um,
think I think how he gets there changes, but I think that the main goal has remained the same.
yeah.
Um, and I think that's so, like using solar on in orbit where there's no atmosphere to generate more energy has been a part of the plan for a long time. Applying the AI data center to it might not be because we didn't know AI was going to be this big 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But
But
I
I
still
think he
think
knew
that
it was going to be this big. I don't know if he I think well he vouched a lot for safety and restrictions. So undoubtedly like that has had some learning curve to it and
right,
also like a change in direction because
right,
like no one fucking cares. So like I don't know if he anticipated to start Grok, right? He essentially started Grok because of the ChatGPT situation
right,
between him and Sam Altman.
right,
And then he was like, well, now I have to fight AI. So like with better AI. So then he started Grok.
right.
Like that stuff isn't like I don't think he was 25 and was like, I'm gonna start an AI company with someone else and then they're gonna kick me out.
Mhm.
So that I'm gonna have to start my like I don't think it's planned out to like that gritty.
No,
Yeah.
not that gritty. But what he was saying, like it's almost like I planned it out, was having uh energy producing solar panels in orbit. That's
Oh
what he was
yeah.
talking about having planned out. And that I believe. And
Yeah.
I believe that as if everything goes to plan and he's able to get people to Mars, I think all of the puzzle pieces are going to fall together generally in the way that he had planned. But it's impressive because, like, if you look at any single component on its own, it's not impressive. And then when you put them all together, it's like when the Avengers movie came out. Everyone was like, "Oh my god!" Like no one had ever seen
Mm.
movies interact with each other together, right? It's like, oh well, I like no one would assume that the the Optimus robot plus the AI plus the Starship would get robots to Mars, plus the Boring Company would dig out all the tunnels before the humans get there. Like, it's adding things together that I think is interesting.
Yeah, yeah, no.
I thought it
I
was
think
cool.
generally speaking, I'm sure that he's added it together a long time ago. The
Yeah,
nitty-gritty, I think has to develop as it comes.
for sure, for sure.
So,
Yeah,
or, he's, got some way of A, deceiving the public, and then B, having this all planned out in some niche, weird story way that he plans out ahead of time with hurdles that he pre-plans, which are like, I think it's just stupid and
it's crazy.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, but yeah, yeah, no, generally speaking, I think for sure.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, he's got his mission lined up and he's got his
yeah,
direction and stuff
yeah.
like that, which I
But
think is cool.
as bad as it feels to not have like a very clear plan laid out, it gets worse because Elon's got like a master plan and it's working for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't I don't think I'll ever compete with Elon in that same realm. A because like he has worked since he was a teen. Like he sold PayPal when he was our age.
Hmm.
Like he's just it's he's ahead of the ball in that respect.
Yeah,
There's I don't think there's any catching up to where he's at for me. But also like I don't really particularly think I want his life.
yeah. I'm not saying that he's it.
So, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with mine, you know what I mean?
Right,
So, that's different, I have no desire to put people on Mars
right,
or, like, anything akin to that.
right.
I did have a funny thing this week, though. I was in some meeting, and they were talking about, how, like, Bezos owns Blue Origin. Yeah, of course. And also owns Amazon and I presume a few other companies. I'm sure that's not his only two, where he's dipped his toes in.
Hmm.
But they were like, Bezos is the visionary that puts our plan forward, and then he asks us to do these impossible tasks. And I was like, that's why the culture here is different than SpaceX, fundamentally. It's like because Elon is on the fucking floor,
Right.
and it's like, I like with all due respect, honestly do really love working at Blue Origin. I think it's a great company. I think there's a lot of great people on it. I think like our hardware is cool. I
Yeah.
think it's super interesting. I think we're doing a lot of really interesting stuff.
Hmm.
At the same time, it's hard to ignore the elephant in the room.
Right.
Um, and like the meetings we have are like in 5 to 10 years down the line, we'll hypothetically have a ship that will be able to compete with Starship. We just watched Starship launch on April 11th.
Yeah.
So and what's really kicker is I started working at this because I was curious. Blue Origin was founded 2 years before SpaceX was founded.
Yikes, dude.
Yeah, it was founded in 2000. SpaceX was founded in 2002.
You know, in
You
the
want to know something even crazier?
what?
Tesla was founded after SpaceX. It was founded in 2004.
I did know that. I
Yeah.
did know that. Yeah.
Which is wild.
Because he put all his eggs in this SpaceX basket,
Oh yeah.
and SpaceX had to work for him to get Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in the podcast I was listening to. They were talking. These guys are trying to figure out like how Elon works. And Elon was like, "Oh well, like I have meetings with the engineers weekly or biweekly, depending on what's up." And they were like, "How do you manage doing it with so many companies?" He was like, "Oh well, if I'm in the meetings with you, things are going poorly. Like I find the weakest link, and then I go help attack the weakest link. And so if I'm in a meeting with you, it's not because things are going really well. I haven't talked to the boring company in like 5 years because they're doing great work. They don't need me. But like the AI problem that they're trying to solve right now, whatever it is, he was like, I was 15 minutes late to this meeting because that meeting was supposed to be 2 hours. It was 3 hours. And so I was delayed getting here. But like he believes in skip level meetings. So he doesn't talk to the manager who's in charge of shit. He talks to the engineers who are doing it.
Yeah.
But he sits his ass down in those meetings and figures it out. And he was talking about how one of the best examples of this is that for SpaceX, when they were doing their reusable boosters, they were looking at doing carbon fiber because it's new age and it's light. But it's really hard to manufacture. It takes a lot of time to manufacture. It's actually not lighter than steel because they have to use so much resin in the carbon fiber, and it's so thick that it takes up more volume and it's heavier. And steel is easier to manufacture and whatever. So like
It's cheaper.
exactly. And so he had to convince his own engineers that they were going to switch from doing
Yeah, the whole thing's made out of stainless. And it runs on fucking kerosene.
exactly.
It's like the simplest. It's like make it out of stainless and run it on kerosene.
Yeah.
It's like how much simpler could you get?
Yeah, and that's a decision that he made in one of the engineering meetings. Even though his engineers were like, "We can make it work," and he was like, "Nope, this is like it's too expensive. It's taking too long. Like we're not."
The problem is that we don't have someone like that. At least from my eyes, with my little knowledge I have, there isn't as much of that at Blue Origin, which I think is a fault.
Yeah.
And I see efforts in trying to change it, which I think is good. But a lot of it is like the big vision comes out, and then a bunch of engineers spend 4 years tweaking something that doesn't need to be fucked with.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, like the holding mechanism of the booster after it lands on the barge, the single like robot mount lift system in order to stabilize it during transport is like millions of dollars.
Okay.
Where like probably didn't have to be that. It probably could have been like something very simple, like a platform, like a literal jack on steroids that you just jack up.
Right.
But like instead, this has like stabilizers and gadgets and gizmos, and it's robotic and controls itself, and it has this like integral like no, just fucking lift the thing.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be that complicated, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and it was interesting because I've been watching a lot of videos from the chief engineer.
Oh, Blue Origin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, you guys are overcomplicating shit. Like he was talking about this stand lift system, and he was like, when I set out to like have you guys design this thing, I literally pictured a big jack stand with like that you can wind up.
Right.
And it was like, now we spent $3 million on a thing that we haven't even tested yet. And like at that time, like the booster hadn't even flown and landed on a barge yet, and they'd already spent millions and millions of dollars developing this thing. It's like, no, we got to make it simple thing, and then use it a bunch, and then figure out where we want to add.
Right.
Not create this crazy thing that costs a ton of money, and then have to go through a whole redesign process because inevitably we're gonna oversee a couple things.
Just for it to maybe not work.
Right. Exactly. So like, I think that's good. I see that effort in occasional places. But it was just like really funny to me, like like the visionary thing, and I'm like, it's like, you got to get down on the floor. Like if you really want to like make it this different and like really hammer this stuff home, but you have to be down on the floor.
Yeah.
And like I've talked with people that work at SpaceX, and they're like, yeah, like when we have big problems, like we get in a meeting with Elon and we talk to him. Like I haven't seen Bezos once, and I don't think most people have outside of like launch day in a different section of the control room.
Right.
Like that's a big difference.
Well, and like, how fucking hard is it? Like, okay, you're Jeff Bezos. You've got the most expensive yacht ever created. And the problem is it was built in the bay where you can't fit under the bridge where it leaves. And the fucking historic department doesn't want to demolish the bridge because it's fucking old.
Yeah.
And now your boat is stuck and you got to deal with this shit. And at the same time, your space company is struggling because they're getting beat up by Elon, who is like,
I mean, it's not even like we're struggling. We have great contracts.
No,
We
no,
have
no,
great
no,
equipment.
no. I mean, like in comparison with SpaceX, like in a competitive fashion,
Oh,
right?
yeah, sure.
Not in meeting internal milestones, but I mean,
Sure.
like if you're going to compare apples to apples, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're the guy with the ideas, and your competitor is currently in the engineering room with his engineers. But like, you're not a fucking engineer. Like, credit to
You
Jeff
haven't been an
Bezos.
engineer either. You didn't even go to fucking school for it.
Or
Or I think he did at a certain point.
I think he started, but he dropped out. But
Yeah, but he's
he's
not like
always
this,
been
like
I think he's like a self-taught engineer. Like
Yeah.
he's an engineer by practice, right?
Right,
Like I would categorize it
yeah, yeah.
Elon Musk.
What
as
I'm
an
saying
engineer.
is like there isn't an excuse for like not
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
getting on the floor.
And he still practices and does it every day.
Mhm.
Like Elon can talk about the engineering issues because he speaks with the engineers every day, right?
Right.
And I don't see Jeff Bezos doing that. And it sucks because you're having like by nature of the situation, you're gonna compare Elon and Jeff. They're both billionaires. They're both
Have big space
have big
companies
space
that
companies,
do
right?
big things.
Exactly. And they both have multiple companies, Amazon, Blue Origin, right?
Yeah.
And the difference is that like Jeff is not like Jeff wants to do rich guy shit, which is like hang out, which
Yeah.
he's earned and
Which is
has
cool.
the right to do,
Yeah.
right?
It's like,
But the
each
problem
to
is
their own.
right, to each their own. But if you're an employee, and I have spoken about this with my dad before because he was like, why is there such a big like draw to go work at SpaceX versus like NASA? Because NASA has a lot of heritage, right? And prestige. And I was like, I think that people really genuinely believe in the mission at SpaceX. And like everybody there is driving for the same.
It's also kind of hard to ignore when you get emails 3, 4, 5 times a week of
From
hey,
Elon.
clear of the pad because of SpaceX launch.
Right.
Like when you work at NASA, like you get those emails constantly, and you're like, fuck.
Right. Yeah.
That's a lot of launches.
Yeah. And like your guy, your head honcho is like there all the time doing shit, like
Yeah.
active and interactive. I don't think SpaceX is the company that it is without Elon. I mean, definitely
No.
not. No other space company is like that.
Yeah,
like Elon, right?
it wouldn't be.
Right.
Yeah.
Similarly, no other electric car company is like Tesla, and it's again because of Elon. Like he's the difference maker.
Right, exactly. And so it was just like funny to me, like this week. It's like the visionary, and it's like I can come up with great visions using Claude AI too. It's like it doesn't put it into practice.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like I can make some vision right now too.
Yeah.
But like it's not gonna fucking do anything unless I go do something for it.
It's not an informed vision.
Whatever.
Right.
Like to each their own. And like Blue Origin does some really incredible things. I think there's some great people working there. And I think that like
Yeah, for
our
sure.
stuff is cool. Like we launch up cool stuff. And the rocket is really cool. I love the job. I think that the mission is great. What I really love to see, I think that would put a big boost to the company, is an actual like a mechanism differential between where Blue Origin's goals are and where SpaceX's goals are.
Yeah.
Like if you have a difference in mechanism, like SpaceX is going right now all about like Mars and colonizing and millions of people working in space and living in space. It's essentially very, very, very similar to Blue Origin's goal.
Right.
But if you could have a different goal for Blue Origin, like for example, we're launching up satellites for something similar to a Starlink system, but Amazon/Blue Origin.
Right. It's a direct competitor.
Right. Like it's like find something else to do in space. Like for example, they could work on this power plant solar panel thing.
Right.
Like that's not something that like SpaceX has actively implemented yet.
Right.
I think that would be a really cool differentiation point. Right. Like stuff like that. And like I haven't thought about this a ton, so I don't have a bunch of ideas.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah.
Because something that I really love about SpaceX that I feel in my heart, and I think is the reason a lot of the employees love there, is because their mission is to make humans an interplanetary species. And a big lesson from the Artemis II launch is that it's for all of humanity, right? So it's everyone. And so SpaceX is working on their systems to get satellites into orbit and to get people to Mars. They're also designing the lunar lander for the Artemis III.
Actually, Blue Origin just got that contract.
Really? I thought SpaceX had it.
It changed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it changed very recently.
Even cooler, because that's an example of one space company helping another space company in parallel doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. It's like we're working toward different goals in the same direction. Right. Where like, we can compound on each other and learn from each other to get to the same place without like directly competing, because like who cares if Artemis gets to the moon and then SpaceX gets to the moon like 3 days later? right? It doesn't matter because like it's just about humans getting to the moon. But if SpaceX can be focusing on getting to Mars while Artemis focuses on getting to the moon, but SpaceX is tied into that via the lunar lander, then like we all move in the same direction, which is cool.
It would be cool to like see more of a differential.
Right.
Or like, if you wanted to be able to like farm plants in space
Mhm.
or whatever, like
Mhm.
that's something that like no one's really touching on.
Mhm.
Or I'm sure that Elon has thought about it to some extent, right? I'm
Mhm.
sure that there's some plan in the weeds of like how to grow plants on Mars, right?
Well,
It has to be.
a big reason we're going back to the moon is because we found water on the South Pole
Yeah, yeah,
in the
yeah.
deepest craters. And so
Yeah.
if we can land in
Ice.
those deep craters, then ice is
Mhm.
frozen.
Yeah, yeah.
Light doesn't
Yeah,
get to the
yeah,
bottom of the craters.
yeah. Mhm.
But if you can harvest that water, then you can grow plants.
Right, there's a lot of cool opportunities out there, and I think that there could be portions of Blue Origin that are differentiated in that respect,
Right.
because, like, one of the things I see too is, like, a lot of the people who work there, very, very smart people, like, there are comments around the office of, like, "Why don't we just copy SpaceX on everything?"
Right.
It's
Because
like,
you're going the same direction.
right,
Right.
exactly, and, like, I
Yeah.
think that puts a damper,
Mhm.
and I think that's part of the reason why the engineers get into the weeds on the design thing, because mentally the only way they see to differentiate themselves is to design it differently.
Make it more complicated.
Right? Like, make it different, make it special, make it unique, make it this,
Right.
right? Because then it really feels like I'm gonna be the simple monkey who designs the simple thing, and my entire mission feels like a rip on SpaceX.
Right.
So what's my point, right? And so I think that naturally leads into like the engineers who are designing other stuff, really going into the nitty gritty because like that's the differentiation point that they see.
Right.
Which I get. I just think that there could be a real great opportunity to do something really different than what SpaceX is doing, or do something that could mesh really well with what they're doing to kind of
Right.
collaborate in that respect. And I think that would be a really cool opportunity. But
Yeah.
also, like, I'm not in the meetings that these CEOs are in, and like my idea might be stupid, but like that, at least that's what I see on the floor. I think that could make a big impact.
Well, it's like that's what I like about the Artemis project is it's because like the government is running it. Boeing designed the Orion capsule. Northrop Grumman designed the solid rocket boosters. Like
Hmm.
there's all these subcontractors who are prime contractors working
Yeah,
on the same shit. Now Blue Origin is doing the lunar lander,
yeah.
right? Like, I like the idea of
I think
big space companies
they're
collaborating on stuff.
Blue Origin is in charge of some part of the lunar lander project. I think part of it as well is they there's a refueling system that they need to put in space um for some portion of it, and Blue Origin and the lunar project I know is working on that as well. So there is some collaboration in that, and I think that's neat.
Yeah.
But that's just like side tidbit note that I'd love to see um some more kind of niche differentiation within the mission,
Yeah.
because then at the floor level, it kind of feels like a copycat mission, and I don't even think it is, or it really has to be. Like,
Got
it
it.
really doesn't have to be because there's so much opportunity in space. Like, it's unexplored. There's tons of resources out there. Like,
Yeah.
there is cool stuff that can be done.
Yeah.
Why don't we just pick one of those other things and then like shoot for that super, super hard?
Right.
Like, I think that'd be cool.
Right.
And I think a lot of the stuff we're doing is essential to whatever we choose to do. Like, obviously, you need to be able to have a reusable rocket. It needs to be launched more frequently, right? Like, this
Right.
stuff is important, but like for the overall mission and goal, I think there could be more niche elements within that that are a branch off of what SpaceX does rather than feeling like a rip.
Right.
So that's just kind of my side tidbit point. I don't know how I got on that, but anyways, that was that. What is your business lesson learned, life lesson of learning this week?
The lesson I learned this week.
Yeah.
Um, Mine is from Artemis II.
Oh, cool.
So, I'm still learning a lot of lessons from the whole mission.
Mhm.
The more I think about it, the more the different areas that I explore in my head that I really like. Um, but the biggest one I think that I learned is kind of just there's two that I have written here, right? But for the first one, it's the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Mm.
Are you familiar with this?
I've heard of it. I think I'll recall it when you
I have a graph here.
talk about it.
So this is your level of confidence
Oh,
and
yeah.
your level of competence.
Yeah.
So the less
This
you
is
know,
yeah.
yeah, it's the
I didn't know the name of it,
the
but
Mount
yeah.
Stupid curve. Yeah. So the less you know about something, the more confident you are in it. And as soon as you start to learn a little bit, you fucking tank in your confidence. And then you very slowly build back up to being confident and competent in it, right? So
Mhm.
the more you know, the more confident you are in what you know.
Mhm.
And the less obviously the less, but it's a curve, it's not a linear line, right?
Yep.
And so many people, I am surprised. I was talking to Grace. The astronauts had splashed down in the Pacific and they were being I was telling her, I was like, okay, yeah, they've got to have divers in the water to get the floats around the underside of the command module, and then they attach the front porch to it on the front, and then they're going to be helicoptered. And Grace was like, oh, okay. And she's like following along. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, again, she was like, well, you know a lot about this stuff. And I was like, I don't know. I kind of just read. Um, but she asked a question about SpaceX, and she was like, "Is SpaceX like trying to go to the moon too?" And I was like, "Kind of. They're doing really important shit in a different area. They're doing reusability rockets." Oh, she asked me, she was like, "Will the command module be reused?" And I was like, "No, we don't have any like reentry materials that can be reused right now. That's something that SpaceX is working on." She was like, "What?" And so then I was like, "You've seen them catch the booster before, right?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "What?" And so I
Yeah.
pulled up the video of SpaceX
Mm.
capturing the booster, right? And she was like, "Whoa, that's so cool." And I was like, "This was huge years ago. Like, I don't know how you missed this. This is like
Yeah.
a peak moment in human history. This is like the first guy who got an internal combustion engine to work. This is nuts." And she was like, "Yeah, I mean, like when I lived in Rochester, like fucking no one talked about space stuff. And like now I moved down here and people talk about it, and it's in my social media feed more. But like, I'm just not in that world in the same way that she's not in like the race car world." And it was shocking to me because I was like, I don't even feel like I'm particularly in the space travel world. I think I just get like residuals from like living here. But it was surprising to me how little she knew about it.
Mm.
Um, and that really defined the X axis to me here, which is she knew surprisingly little about the space world to me. Like she knows less than I thought she did about it just because of where she grew up. And like she's interested in it. She thinks it's cool. She just doesn't
Yeah.
know about it. And when I talk to people at the bar, they also don't know anything, but they have very strong opinions, which is one of the reasons I love Grace. If she doesn't know something, then she doesn't have an opinion on it because she doesn't know it. But so many people at the bar are like, I don't get it. Like, why aren't they just landing on the moon now? Like, this is not impressive to me. And I'm like, oh my God, you don't know anything. Like,
Yeah.
you like, I would love to explain this to you, but first you have to understand that you don't know what you don't know. And I have to explain to you why you don't know it first. And as, uh, uh, in addition to this, I was watching a YouTube streamer who was reacting to a video of a scientist talking to a flat earther. And
Mm.
the flat earther actually is a famous rapper who I didn't even know existed. Apparently, Eminem dissed him once, and that's why he's famous. His name's Lord Jamar. Have you heard of him?
No.
He's brain dead. He's completely and total idiot. But he was debating a scientist. And the fundamental issue with this guy and why he was not getting anything, I don't even know if he's a scientist. He's just not an idiot. He's just an intellectual. This dude doesn't believe in gravity. Every single point came back to gravity. And I was like, oh, he doesn't understand or want to understand or believe in gravity. And so everything else just is out the window. He was
Yeah.
like, explain to me how you can have like water needs to fill a container. And so how do you have water on a ball with no lid on it? Explain like talking about the earth and how the ocean is on the earth. And the answer
Right.
is gravity. How do you have air on a ball? And like he didn't understand how vacuums work. Like he's an idiot. And
Yeah.
okay, granted, the science guy, like Lord Jamar was insulting the science guy before he even entered the call. And so like he came in the podcast swinging. He did not pull. He was not there to teach. He was there to diss on this guy, right? Which I understand. But Lord Jamar doesn't even know what he doesn't even know because he doesn't know how gravity works, right? And so it's just this is a reminder to myself to remain vigilant that there's always more to learn about any given subject. And if I have a really strong opinion on something, I should really consider how much I know about the subject because I probably don't know enough about it to have that kind of opinion, right? It's the Chris Williamson resist the desire to have an opinion on everything because your expertise is narrower than you think and the world needs more signal, not more noise, right?
Hmm.
So that was the first lesson that I learned. Um, is just that I really love having these conversations with people because it's so easy to get focused on what you're doing every day. So like the bartenders are like their number one concern is like how much money am I getting paid because I have to pay rent. And it's so easy to forget that like you have the privilege of worrying about how much you are making to pay rent and you're not having to worry about like being robbed on your drive home or
Hmm.
being beheaded because you're a woman or having your hands cut off because someone accused you of being a thief because you don't live in a third world shithole because you have an incredible government and military to protect you from all that shit.
Hmm.
And you know the air show kind of gave me a more um I'm being more grateful for the military that we have in keeping us safe. We don't get to go do all this moon stuff if we don't have the national security that we do from the tens of thousands or millions of people in our military and
Mhm.
informational services like the CIA and the NSA and all the other info services. I'm on the mailing list for something called an INSUM, which is the intelligence summary from the CSOC or the Cybersecurity Office Center or
Mhm.
something like that. So every week I get a report on what the United States Cyber Office is seeing from other countries and in our country and stuff, which is pretty cool. And so like CSOC, no one fucking knows about. Like it's not the CIA or the NSA, but there's
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of people working this type of stuff. And the only reason that we get to do stuff as cool as Artemis II is because we have that type of national security. And so I I just wanted to take a moment to remain vigilant about that, right? Anyways, that's my first lesson. The second lesson that I learned is from Victor Glover, and we talked about this the other day. But he was responding to a question on DEI for the Artemis II crew, and this is what he responded with. I hope that one day we don't have to talk about race or gender first, that one day this is just the human history, that this is the story of Artemis, or that this is the story of humanity. No black history or women's history, but human history. And that's Victor Glover. And I really love that quote. Right now, there's a lot of people freaking out because they cast Snape as a black man in the new Harry Potter show, which is a huge issue because you can't just say like, oh, well, why can't Snape be black, right? And it's like, well, because he's written as a white character, right? Like when you change Snape to being black, it has huge ramifications on the rest of the story, and that's why it's good. So, like for example, in the first book, Harry accuses Snape of having stolen the Philosopher's Stone, right?
I was thinking about this right now, and I was like,
So
this is kind
now,
of
now
out of all the characters you could cast as black, I think like
it's the worst one.
the one that would be most odd to select, like if you're trying to be like
Woke.
racially inclusive and woke and sensitive, would
Right.
be Snape.
Exactly. Right. The
Yeah.
one black. How many other black professors have you seen in these trailers? The one black professor Harry's going to accuse of being a thief. Also, Harry's parents, his dad, James Potter, bullies Snape.
I
and
think
he,
they
like,
should edit the script to like
But then you're not-
correlate with Snape being black, and like when Harry's like accuses him of thieving, he's like, why? Because I'm black, and then like just like completely reset the like
Tone.
the tone
Yeah.
and like the norms to be like inversely
Yeah.
like just go all out on like the awkwardness of the experience.
Embrace it.
Actually, that I would watch for the comedy sensation.
I would watch.
I
that
think it
for
would
the
be
comedy.
pretty
It's for
funny.
you. It's getting a lot of heat because it's a decision that didn't need to be made. It impacts the story. If you're going to change the story, then it's not Harry
Yeah,
Potter anymore. You're not being true to the books. Anyways, it's a big fucking deal, right? And so there's a lot of people really upset about that right now.
Yeah.
I personally don't give a shit because I love the Harry Potter movies and books and the new TV show. I don't watch the Fantastic Beasts stuff. I just like what I like, right? So it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But there's a lot of people that are real worked up about it right now. And there's a lot of people upon the safe reentry of the Artemis crew making like super strong pro DEI posts around Victor Glover and Christina Koch coming back because they're like, oh, it's so great to see a black man do this. And it's so great to see women do this. Like, my daughter asked today if boys can be astronauts too. I guess she just thought it was a woman's job only. And it's like, dude, you're missing the point of what the astronauts are pushing here.
Yeah.
Because they are all pushing for human progress, not division and like race, whatever. There was a guy who asked a question. Oh, this was right after Splashdown. NASA leadership went and did a press conference, and there was a Hispanic reporter who asked a question. He was like, oh my God, it was the dumbest fucking thing. He was like, the Apollo missions on reentry had 6 minutes of communications blackout as they were coming through the atmosphere. Artemis II had the same length communications blackout. What does that say about the developments that you have made with Artemis and the progress we've made since Apollo 11? And will we see a Hispanic astronaut in Artemis 3? And I was like,
correlation there.
I was like, oh my God, dude, what? Like, okay, physics. Buddy doesn't understand the fundamentals of how communications work or how fucking plasma on reentry impacts that. A, and then B, the whole point of this mission is for humanity to progress, not fucking like race or gender. That's not the point, dude. Right?
Yeah.
We'll see a Hispanic astronaut in Artemis 3 if he's the most qualified person for the job.
Human history.
Exactly. Right? It's human history. Like we're looking for the best of humanity. And the more I watch, the more I watch of these astronauts, the more I'm really taken aback by how fucking
Yeah,
impressive
they're
these
awesome.
people are. They're
Yeah.
incredible. When my dad gave me a tour of the VAB over winter break, in front of his like front office section, they have like a stage with like cardboard cutouts of the astronauts. He was like, "Do you guys want to get photos with the cardboard cutouts?" And I was like, "I don't know." He was like, "Let's do it." And I was like, "Okay." So I got cardboard cutout photos with the astronauts, right? And at the time, I didn't know much about them. They were just like the astronauts, and I was like, "Okay, like
Yeah.
astronauts are cool, right? I'll take photos. I'll be happy." The more I'm getting to know about them, like it's so rare for me to see my dad genuinely look up to people. Like
Mhm.
he takes bits and pieces from people, but on the whole, he's not like, super pro Obama or super like a MAGA guy. Like he's not, or even like actors. Like there's no one that he really looks up to as a person.
Mhm.
There's traits and qualities and decisions that he admires, but I
Yeah.
rarely see him look up to people. But I have never seen him speak as highly about people as he's spoken about this crew before. And it was before I knew about them, and I took mental note of it, and I didn't really know what he meant. And the more I am watching of these people in these press conferences, I see it very clearly. Like these are the best of humanity that we have to
Yeah.
offer.
Yeah.
And so this quote really stuck out to me because despite them being the best of us, like the reason they're the best of us is because there are reporters and people on Instagram who are literally listening to what the best of us have to say, goes completely past them. They miss the mark entirely. And then they could go on with their narrative, right? And the only reason that these astronauts can be the best of us is because most of us are like that,
Mhm.
right? Like that, like you are the best of us because most of us are like that. And so when I read these comments, my first instinct is to reply and say, "You're missing the point. Like that's not what these astronauts are preaching. Like you're pushing this onto them when that's not what they're publicly presenting as what they want, right?" And then I stop and I go, "They're not gonna. They don't have the capacity, right? Like they are listening to what the astronauts are saying and then completely disregarding it because it doesn't fit their narrative. And so who the fuck am I
Yeah.
to leave an Instagram comment, right?" Anyways, those are my life lessons I learned.
Very nice. Cool. You have a dial in?
I sure do. This is a longer one, but it's also from an astronaut. So this is from when this is before they launched, I think, actually. But this was Reed Wiseman, the commander, talking about the legacy of Artemis II.
Mm.
Um, and this was an impactful quote for me for no particular reason, but I just thought it was nice. When I look at the future, when we talk about what is our legacy, I don't want to look 5 or 10 years in the future. I want to look 100 or 200 years in the future. Honestly, this is where I thought it may land wrong, but I hope we're forgotten. If we are forgotten, then Artemis has been successful. We have humans on Mars, we have humans on moons of Saturn, we're expanding in the solar system. We have robotic precursor missions going on, we have spacecraft. Maybe we invented something we never dreamed of and inspired some kids somewhere, and that is a footnote. Um, he went on and he's saying about himself, he went and inspired Susie or Johnny to do what they did. That would be magical.
Mm.
That's the quote.
I like it.
Me too.
Very nice. Well, that concludes episode 104 of the Vision 79 podcast.